a little stream, but it's going to be on our channel now as a video on demand. It'll be really easy to find. It's very short. RPG work because I woke up early and I want to get it done. Anybody else wants to watch this, obviously you can watch the video on demand. So I'll have the chat up just so I can immediately see and interact with you guys over there. Thank you for joining me. I'm probably also going to alternate between sitting and standing because, well, it's a bit early in the morning for this standing thing. Can't run anything in light mode. Yeah, so I was saying to somebody, who was it? It was Thalesbot. Awesome to see you here. Thanks for joining us. The font, I don't know how you change the color of your font, but the font of your name is so dark I can't see it. But that's okay. I'll just highlight it. Resilio is not completely free, Bindi. I think it's $50 or quid. It's awesome. It's like Dropbox, but with no trusted intermediary. You just share files directly between people, which I really quite like. So, all right, now let's crack back into the RPG, I think, is what we're going to do. Section, here we go, the new model of the RPG, a new way of doing it. Yesterday, we were instantiating speed bubbles at runtime. Let's see where we got to. And transparency in it. Kind of sucks pretty hard, actually. So now I'm showing buffering on my machine. Are you? Really two horrible like rhymes I've done today. One was something about a tech check. Tech check and suffering buffering. There you go. Aren't they just cheesy? It sounds like you need to do a Johnny Bravo smile when you say that. Hi. Okay, you're seeing some lag. Bindi's getting bad buffering, getting buffering and losing sound. So as a whole, that lot sucks. Why would this be? Let me have a little look then. Could be my broadband. Still haven't quite got all this perfect for you guys. I think I need to pause Backblaze, and I have already turned a few cameras off. Okay. Audio still drops. First robot rampage. And you're dropping to 1080p sometimes. So Twitch Inspector is relatively happy with me. It's told me that I have an excellent, stable stream. Could be the downstream from Twitch for whatever reason. I'm not seeing any issues this end. I'll just go back and check one more thing while we let those changes settle. Oh, yeah, no, it was a bit rubbish at the beginning of this stream, so I apologize. But I think it's okay now, is what Twitch Inspector says. I will keep it on the screen over there down on my laptop. All right, so what do? We got this horrible speech bubble. In fact, it's a seriously horrible speech bubble because when we run it at runtime, let's see what happens to it. It doesn't have any transparency. So Mr. What's his name here? Horatio, I think was his name. Look at him. Wonderful, Horatio, but look at that speech bubble. Isn't it ugly? I guess I'm going to resist actually changing it and leave it for now because at least we know where we're going to click. What we need to think about next is the fact that Horatio, the NPC of choice, has a voice script which is automatically adding a speech bubble prefab to him, is finding itself a reference to the enemy canvas so it knows where to put the speech bubble, and has a conversation, a Horatio conversation. What does that look like? And it has an opening gambit and a player response for now, which are just text fields. Cool. So we have a starting point of a dialogue. It should be okay. Bloop, boop, boop, bloop, boop, bop. Whoa, are you trying to do a tongue twister? Bloop, boop, bop. Lots of funny tongue stuff going on there. All right, so now I have to remember how on earth to make this dude interactable. Somewhere we had a camera raycaster. How did that work? I wonder. And this is where we get to Visual Studio's opening. I will resolve this at some point. I have tried. I have no idea what's going on this Mac with this 2 Visual Studios lark. We will get there. It's not the end of the world, as long as I don't double-click any scripts. Just going to check my external script editor settings while that loads and just see where are they. They would be probably here, here, here. Editor attaching. That's for debugging. Don't know. Doesn't look like there's any problem there. I'll try turning editor attaching on in case we've got a bug. Changing the settings requires a restart. Well, so what? We'll do a restart while we wait for Visual Studio to check for updates and load itself. Let's reload the hub. And then we're going to have to work out how we're going to respond to clicking on that speech bubble or on the character. Should it be the speech bubble? Should it be the character? Should I even be doing the affordance as a bubble above this guy's head? Or should what we actually be doing is changing? Yes, you know what I think we should really be doing is changing this arrow. You know how the arrow that we've got in the game changes itself from an arrow to a sword?
Okay, old prude. Hand over your money. I've got
Maybe
family
we
to
should
feed.
also have as another option there, we should probably have an icon that is a speech bubble. So I'm going to do that as a paradigm as well. I'm going to duplicate walk just because it's already working. I'm going to call it talk. There you go. Unknown walk, talk, target. In which case target, yeah, target's all right. Target the verb, not target the noun, right? Target as in target this thing rather than it is a target. So talk. Now, it's a PSD. Oh, that's the only problem with the package I'm using. If we use PSDs, they're great because Unity can deal with them directly, but I am not using Photoshop because I hate it. That's immature of me, isn't it? I really should just learn to handle it. Anyway, I don't like Photoshop. Let's just go and find this thing. I will have to open Photoshop in this instance because it's a PSD and I can't be bothered to do anything else. I need to somehow change this into a simple dialogue icon, which shouldn't be too difficult. In fact, we can use the one that we had over here in our dialogue and quests, and then I can try two different things. I can try him having a bubble above his head and the icon changing, or him just having a bubble above his head if you can talk to him, or just having the icon of the cursor change, and we'll see where Rick wants to go. Gobble, gobble the water. Awesome. So Photoshop, another reason I'm not super keen on Photoshop is it takes forever and a day to open. I'll just see if I can open with Pixelmator Pro. I don't think you can. I'll just try. Pixelmator's Mac only, so I mean, I'm not going to highly recommend it. Oh, look at that. It just worked. Okay. Well, then I'm happy. I don't think you can save. Surely you can't save a PSD on Pixelmator Pro, unless you can these days. Really? Maybe I can. Let's have a go. Be cool to edit a Photoshop file in Pixelmator Pro. No, you can't. You can't. So I'd have to save it as something else, and then Rick would get unhappy with me because it'd be an unlayered thingamajig. So I will use Photoshop. There it is in Photoshop. Now you get to see me fumble in Photoshop. All I need to do here is just differentiate this visually from the icon, the other icon. So where is it? If I go find this speech bubble, reveal that in Finder. There it is. It's a JPEG. I could just, oh, hello Jan, popping up. Nice to meet you, old chap. So there's that. Now I have no idea how to select this properly in Photoshop. I hate Photoshop. Move tool. Ugh. Yeah, nice. How do I rescale you? Anybody know how to rescale something in Photoshop? Doesn't give me any handles in the corner, you see. You would have thought that artboard tool, and now we're into Photoshop Wonder. How do you even rescale something? Is there a button I can press, another button I can press? Don't do a Photoshop course from me just yet, guys. I'm gonna need to do a little bit more swatting up on this. Oh my god, it's irritating. Dude, I just want to grab the corner of this thing that I have on my screen and rescale it. Somebody's going to be shouting in the chat right now. Let's go see the chat. What are you guys saying? How do I rescale that freaking element in Photoshop, guys? I've got it. I'm dragging it. I should be able to get the corner of it and rescale it. And guess what? You can't because it's Photoshop and it would be too easy. Command plus T. Ah, thank you. All right. See, some of you guys know Photoshop. It's great for people who kind of grew up with it and knew it from the word go, but for new people to get into, it's horrible. And I always have very negative self-talk about it, and that messes me up. So don't talk to yourself negatively about things unless you've got an alternative. I do have an alternative. Most of the time, it's called Pixelmator Pro, so I'm happy to talk negatively about it. If I didn't have an alternative, I wouldn't allow myself to talk negatively about it because it would be bad for me, because all I'd be doing then is making myself miserable. So I have a talk icon here. It does not have the transparency you might want for the cursor, but I'm not sure I particularly care because it's going to stick out like a sore thumb and say to Rick, hey, this nearly needs changing. So in my camera UI, I have given myself a talk icon. Now, how does it work? I've completely forgotten how all of this works. Firstly, where is the camera where's the camera raycaster used? It is used on the camera arm. No, it's not. It's used on the main camera. Okay, that's cool. So now, there you go. Actually, we've got hard-coded in here, and that makes sense because it's different behavior. On the camera raycaster script, we've got the idea of show me the walk cursor, show me the enemy cursor, but the camera raycaster script does not have any concept yet, and it's about to, because I'm about to school it in the ways of what was that game? It's a VR game, and it was really cool, and I haven't played it for a while. Space Pirate Trainer, and it's got a really cool song in it where it goes, you're going to get schooled in the ways of the laser. And yeah, it's just what you need at that time. So here's this old class. I haven't touched this for a while. I'm going to resist the urge to refactor it right now when actually all I need to be doing is grabbing this and making another cursor, which is going to be the talk cursor, like so. Now over on the camera raycaster, I should, in a moment when this recompiles, hey, Harry Lee, thank you very much for subscribing with Twitch Prime. I really like it. I had a little spiel on why people should consider subscribing at tier 2. There it is. But it hasn't formatted very nicely, has it? That sucks. Sorry about that. I thought I sorted the formatting out yesterday. Looks like my text expansion tool can't send soft returns. Anyway, talk. There you go. So we're going to drop a talk icon on here. And the Twitch app is garbage. You can't recommend against it enough. Yeah, that's probably true. You're probably going to tell me that we should be using a different chat app, aren't you? Windows Twitch app. Yeah, but I'm on a Mac, remember? That's the problem with that. Where's this icon gone? Why is Unity being so bad at letting me drag? All right. Anyway, the point is, and this is a change to what prefab? Let's just be clear. I'm changing the main camera prefab. I'm changing the camera arm prefab. That's what I'm changing. So I'll just apply that back to the prefab. Always be aware of what impact you might be having on prefabs. Give me a sec. I'm just going to wake my laptop up so I can see that we are good. Yep, I think we're good. We had 10 seconds of instability according to this, which isn't so bad. I'm just going to set a hot corner over on my Mac so that I can put the mouse in a corner and the screen doesn't go off, and then I never have to do any of this malarkey again. Hot corners, put display to sleep, whereas at the top right, we're going to disable the screensaver. Boom. Okay, wonderful. So that will stay on. The web version is fine. Windows Twitch app. Okay, there's a web version of a Windows Twitch app. Interesting. I shall take a look at that. Meanwhile, let's have a look at what's happened. I've put in a talk cursor. Now, how do we know whether... How do we know how on earth did any of this stuff work? So, it's been a long time. Raycast for enemy. Raycast for potentially walkable. Okay, perform raycasts. So, if the current screen rectangle contains the mouse position, so if the mouse is in the screen, then you go and make a ray. You specify the layer priorities. The order matters. Oh, good commenting, Ben. If raycast for enemy return... That's a weird paradigm. We're saying if we hit the enemy, just return. Okay. Bit nasty. Nasty side effect in there. It doesn't just raycast for the enemy, does it? It also sets the cursor. So, to do, remove... I'll do a capital to do, actually. To do, remove side effect. But for now... Let's get this working. Remember, red-green refactor. It's not working, i.e. we don't have the cursor changing when somebody has that script on them. What script? The voice script. When someone has a voice, we want them to show a dialogue icon. The mouse wants to change to a dialogue icon. So let's just focus on getting that done. In fact, to the point that I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to branch and call this Stream 5B. Stream 5B. And then I'm also going to pre-commit that what I'm trying to do is mouse over game object with voice changes to dialogue. Dialogue, G without the UE. With the UE, I think is what we're having now. It's a dialogue with the UE, and I think a dialogue is a computer term for the thing that actually pops up. So my question comes as to what's the order in which we are going to do this. If you had an enemy over something walkable, so that would be, well, there's just, imagine this dude was an enemy and I put the mouse right where it is now, then that is enemy over walkable. The terrain is walkable, I can navigate there, but the enemy's on top of it. The mouse obviously shouldn't show walkable, it should be showing enemy. Enemy is foreground to walkable. The question is, what do we do about talkable? Talkable, walkable, we have to have squawkable as well. If an enemy is both, if somebody is an enemy, at the moment we're not talking to enemies, right? But if there was an enemy and they were talkable, i.e. we had an NPC that has enemy AI, actually pretty much like Horatio here. He has enemy AI, therefore he is an enemy because he's an enemy in the brain. That's what an enemy is. Should he show as talkable or as targetable? Well, I think it's much more diplomatic to talk first. So let's make a moral decision here. Let's make the moral decision to talk first, okay? That's quite fun, isn't it? Hold on, I need to check the chat. I'm also going to go down in the world. Feeling slightly self-conscious that I'm not wearing any trousers, but that's okay, we'll survive. I'm going down, so I keep looking around. It's also a little bit cold. If I close the window, there's not enough air. If I let the microphone go that high, you can't hear me. Hopefully the camera will brightness. Re-brightness, that's the word. Do auto exposure proper is another way of saying it. So I'm going to have a quick look at the chat, put my glasses on and look. Oh, that's bright. What's bouncing off that? That's the screen, I'm afraid. Well, can't do much about that. I'm going to need the screen. Okay, chat, and then we'll get this puppy working. Why puppy? I don't know. It just sticks. I like the term puppy. So, Bindi saying the Windows Store Twitch app is bad. Okay, it never works correctly for me. Watching on the web has far less problems. Oh, okay, thank you. Wasn't able to see if the link I made above was helpful. The stream died on Windows 10 app. Which link did you put above? I don't see a link above, I'm afraid. I'm going to look on my other screen. Bindi, I don't see a link that you have posted today at all. Just doing a search on the other one. No, I think it did not make it. Oh, there's one. How to prevent VS Code from opening multiple instances of the same. Have you just gone and found me the solution? Set Workbench Editor to reveal in your user settings. Command K on OS X. Okay, I'm going to give this a go. This is why we stream. If this works, user settings. What user settings of what? Oh, I'm not in Visual Studio Code. No, thank you. That's awesome, Bindi, but I'm in Visual Studio Community. So I'm sure that would be awesome if I was using Visual Studio Code. So let's have a quick look. Perceptual Lucidity Games. What a wonderfully long name, and thank you for being a subscriber. I would say dialogue would be the lowest priority. Good point. Have I considered talking first? Yeah, you must have a hack and slash mentality. Yeah, so I'm going to make the moral decision that if Raycast, this doesn't exist yet, but we're going to pretend this method exists. Raycast for, how have I spelt it before? For talkable. Talkative. I'm going to call it a talkative. Hey, we better look up the English of this. If it's talkative, I think how does English even work? It's like an adjective is what. Yeah, it's an adjective. But can talkative be a noun? No. So I can't say talkative because the English bods were gonna. Should I tell them to? Should I stick a finger at the English bods? No. Raycast for voice speaker. What do you call someone who speaks? Non-mute, normal person. Reasonable person. Raycast for voice. Let's just do that. That's what we're actually doing. We're looking to see if this guy's got a voice. Now, I hate this code here. I don't like the fact that saying that we raycast and if it happens, we leave the method, we leave the raycasts, but I'm going to live with it just for now because I've got myself a note here that says remove side effects. In fact, I'll move that note up to, or down to here. Don't want to fix that now. Red, green refactor. It's not working. When I go mouse over Horatio, I'm not going to be getting a little dialog pop up. Therefore, I don't want to make the code better at the same time as changing its functionality, all right? Because that will make it worse. Ugh, what am I doing again? All right, what I'm doing. By the way, if you're ever not sure what you're doing, source tree, pre-commit, mouse over object with voice changes to dialog icon. Ah, that's what I'm doing. Okay, cool. So that's why I'm pre-committing, right? So that I know what I'm doing. Is it too far beyond the scope to create a class for received actions like walk to, etc.? Could add trade shop, etc. Yeah, possibly. We just don't need it yet, that Beezy, but that's a good point, and possibly we just don't need it. And then have a menu to pop up. Oh yeah, I don't know, not sure we're going to have menus. I think we're going to go for a paradigm that as you wave your mouse around the world, it does the thing that is most appropriate, because that would be better for mobile, remember. If you're on mobile, do you really want to press and hold on a character and then have like a menu? Maybe it's a design decision, but we're saying no, we're going to kind of build into the game and the game design that the mouse changes to the most interesting thing to do for a given mouse position, whether that's walk there, attack an enemy, or talk to the enemy. And I'm making a game design decision here effectively right now that we're going to talk before we attack. But Rick. So I'm going to say, if that's the first one, I'm going to have these methods in the same order as they're listed below. So I'm going to go grab this. Should I copy and paste code? No, I think as a recap, basically for revision purposes and also for the fact that it's, I don't like cutting and pasting code, basically. It just creates problems. Also, I tend to want these days to or public. So private, private. Update is neither really. It's a message. It comes from the engine. It's warning me that I'm not using the talk cursor. That's not surprising because I'm about to. Okay. Good. So if you have a new coding standard, if your coding standard is evolving, take things to it slowly as you touch the files. I wouldn't go nuts and go through your entire solution changing your coding standard necessarily. It could take a lot of time unless you've got some work reason you need to do that. So Boolean, why is it a Boolean? This is a horrible method because it both answers a question, which is have I hit an enemy, so that we can leave if we haven't or have, and also does a bunch of stuff. So anyway, I've got the to do to fix that. So Recast for voice, and we're going to take in a ray. Where's that ray formed? The ray is formed here. Okay, so you're raycasting straight through the screen. That's fine. Is the stream okay? I think it is. It's not showing us so okay on my screen over here, but I think it is. Yeah, Twitch Inspector says it is. It knows everything. So how are we going to raycast for voice? Well, I don't know. Have we not done the raycast yet? No, we haven't. So I am now copying code for the third time. Yes, so it's when the third time that I copy code that I start to think, should I be? Actually, the second line of code, the first thing we do is a variable called hit info in both of these other cases, into which it's an out parameter, into which we're going to store the hit result. So that's okay to keep doing that each time because it's very low span. It's just, by span I mean distance between where you define it and where you use it. And then in one case we go and do a physics raycast to a maximum depth, and then in another case we are doing a very similar type of raycast, but it's different, isn't it? Yeah, so I think we're okay to copy this code once more. I'm tempted to say, well, this is the third time we've done raycast hit info, but it's an out parameter, so I think it's okay to have an out parameter every time. This is something that's going to get information stored into it when we call a raycast. Okay, so we will just raycast to the maximum depth, I think, the same as this. We are going to need to refactor some of this, but let's just get it working. Red, green, refactor. Now, yeah, it's the same as this. We need to genericize this shortly. So don't just give lip service to that. We want to say to do start of generic code or shared code, and then it's probably going to be there's going to be an end of the shared code eventually, which is going to be down here somewhere. So what I'm saying is I'm just doing stuff. I'm copying and pasting stuff here, and I don't like it. So end of shared code. Okay, because basically all I'm doing here is going and saying, have I hit A? And then I'm saying thing with a voice, right? And then this enemy hit, well, I mean, voice hit, but, you know, this is all repurposable. All these lines of code are exactly the same. Now it's what's the behavior if I do this thing? Well, you see, in both these cases, I could just be raycasting for, rather than enemy or voice, I could be raycasting for a type of some description. I could make these generic methods, and then I could share most of their code, and it would only be this bit in here, the behavior, that's different. We'll do that in a bit. So it's to do make generic raycast for type method. So you'd actually be like raycast for type, and in here you would go, well, I'm raycasting for something with a voice, basically, and you would go, well, it could just be raycast for voice, and then we'd think about fixing up the naming. But don't be tempted to do all this in one go, otherwise you're getting squirreled. Hey, let's take a look at the chat. Chat has been strange. Chat's always strange. It has people in it. Hey, very funny, Anvil. What's your icon? Turbo. Does that mean you don't get adverts or something? Up early or pulled an all-nighter? Me, I am up early. Yes, I did not pulled an all-nighter. Did not pulled. Come here to learn English. Best place to get it. Straight from an Englishman. Anyway, if we hit a voice thing, what do we do? Well, we're back into roughly the same paradigm. Cursor.set cursor. We're gonna genericize the hell out of this thing. We're going to set it to the talk cursor, and I suspect the rest of that stuff is there. Now, do we need to broadcast out that we're doing anything like on mouse overing an enemy or anything? What does that even do? It's an event that... No, we don't. Why are we doing that? Why are we wing over an enemy broadcasting a... who subscribes to this on mouse over enemy? I'm just going to have a quick look through my solutions. Search find in project. No, find in project. How do you do that? I've forgotten how you do everything. It's okay. Find in files. There you go. On mouse over enemy, this whole solution. It's the player control. Why does the player control care when you mouse over an enemy? Oh, because then it starts to, in that frame, ask the question about whether he's in range and whether you've clicked the button. All right. I'm just reminding myself of why we were sending this event. Okay, I don't need to be sending any events or anything. All I do is, if I get over the voice, I set the cursor to the talk cursor, return true, because this method stinks, and then when you get out of here, we return false. Don't like it, but again, I'm not getting idealistic while I'm trying to get something working. Red-green refactor. Oh, something doesn't work. What's wrong? Camera raycaster 42. What have I done on 42? I've stuffed it up. Perform raycasts. Really? Yes, of course it must have a return type. Some sort of return type. If in doubt, void it out. Let's have a little butcher's hook now as to whether this works. Oh, the only problem is I've got to go find Horatio, which could be easier said than done. You know what? We need to warp the player near Horatio. So how do I do that? Well, one way would be to go and find out what Horatio's world position is, which is this, and rotation potentially. Go to the player, paste the component values, boom. Now move the player so he's not co-located completely with Horatio, and then play the game, and then we will magically be standing right next to Horatio on his patrol. Oh, there you go, Mr. Horatio. You have a big thing above your head. That's cool. Apart from his
well, Ned friend, I say you're on the right path for the village.
For the moment. It's kind of a big question mark to Rick. It's like, Rick, do you want this affordance on this dude or not? But my cursor is not changing at all. Why not, pray tell? Let's go look at the code. So, order first, we raycast for voice. Okay, when we raycast for voice, we're doing almost the same thing as raycasting for the enemy. My next question would be about layers and layer interactions. Collider. Oh, no, he has a collider on him. Does the game object hit have a component called voice? I really thought he did. Let's have a look. There it is, voice, and let's, by analogy, see what happens when we say, does he have an enemy AI? Yep, has an enemy AI, so it's definitely, that should be triggering. The colliders are all the same. If voice hit, okay, so just go print voice hit. Just get some kind of logging. Are we getting this far, right? Are we getting as far as... It's probably just that I don't swap the sprite out, you know. I don't think I ever wrote that functionality. No, I do swap the sprite out.
Well, net friend, I say...
Right, so we're not getting that far, so let's just search the space. So that's not happening. Clearly, we will be calling Recast for voice, but let's not assume. Let's have a little look at that, make sure that's getting called, and just kind of find the problem. Recast for voice. Oh, that's happening lots. When's it happening? Every time I move the mouse. Perfect. Good, so that's happening. Can you not? I never use breakpoints for whatever reason. I could, but I just don't like the way it kind of stops the execution. Yeah, I could use breakpoints. I could come in here and stick a breakpoint down in the margin here and then, you know, see if we get there. But I know that we're getting there. I know that we are having that called. I'm just trying to understand. It's not going to be the max raycast depth because otherwise you'd have problems in other places. I think what we're going to do is print game object hit now. I'm just bisecting the space. You see, I know that the problem, I know that we don't get here and that we do get here. So the problem's somewhere in here, basically. It's as simple as that. So I'm just chopping the space in half regularly, and I'm just going to see what game object we're hitting. So we're hitting the terrain, the terrain, the terrain. We're never hitting Horatio for whatever reason. Okay, so we need something about his layer, I think. I think Horatio is going to be not ready to be receiving... you know what? He's on an ignore raycast layer. Look at that. So there's a general issue. Do we set that layer in code because he has a voice? That's not a bad idea. In fact, why this is a bit minging. Why are we ignoring raycast? I think that's because we don't have the functionality to say that Horatio is an enemy, but that he is not a combatant, if you like. I.e., he is driven by NPC AI. I think it's because we don't have the difference between an NPC AI and an enemy AI. Look, if we have default layer on Horatio and his children this is from a Unity editor layers point of view, I think it will come up. There you go. It's going to work. It's the layer. Interesting. All right, but look, basically it works now. And had Horatio not had a voice script, what would happen is Horatio would now be attackable because he has enemy AI. Oh, well, he should be attackable. That's interesting. Why does it still think he's got a voice component? That tells you something about the way that get component works. It tells you that it doesn't care that the component, whether the component is active or not. That's what that tells me. So that's another interesting side effect. So the voice hit is a reference to that. Is active and enabled. That should now differentiate between that being active or not. But oh no, hang on, it's not a method. So that's interesting. The get component is going to get the component even if I disable it, which may not give the desired effect. So this guy now, there you go, he's looking like a combatant now. But we're going to get other problems, which is in the raycast for voice, null pointers, all sorts. All right, so we need some refactoring. Not a problem. I'm not going to change that. I'm just going to make some notes to self. I'm going to commit and then we'll move on. We're basically going to need to have a better way of differentiating an NPC who is passive from an enemy who is not. And the problem is that our enemy AI script isn't really an enemy AI script. It's really, I think, something slightly different. I think what it is something to do with their movement. And I can't find it right now. Where is it? NPCs, enemies... Enemy AI. What does it actually do, this thing? Waypoints. You see, look, it's not an enemy AI script, is it? It's a bit messed up. It does a lot. So, try and stay on subject. This enemy AI class, to do, consider specializing to enemy movement or NPC patrol or NPC movement or something like that. Okay, so let's not get completely off topic. You can see how these issues spread. We found the problem. The problem was that the engine was not even reporting collisions because he was on a layer of which was ignore raycast. All right, so now it'll work. Basically, you'll get at least get the affordance come up, and then the next thing I need to do is process a click. At which point I will need to send some sort of event. So boom, that's processing the click. Sorry, that's changing the cursor, not processing the click. Let's commit. This is the point at which, if, you know, from a rock climbing point of view, I'm like, I've got a lot of run out now. I've done a load of stuff. My mental state, I want to put a peg in the rock and say, if I fall now, I want to go back no further than this. So I make sure everything's saved, and I say, have I got the mouse over object with voice changes to dialogue icon? Yes, I have. I could make some other notes to self, but only if you set layer back to default. Okay, I'm going to push this to stream 5. You guys can get to that over on GitHub if you really want to see any of my changes. I think you know how to find GitHub by now. How do I... I'm not sure. Do you want the GitHub link? If you want the GitHub link, ask me in the chat. Breakpoints can be magical. I'm not sure they would have got me there any faster in that particular instance, would they? Yeah, I could step over, but really, I still think it would have been hard to diagnose because it's the layer that... Anyway, yeah, I could use breakpoints. I'm just not in the habit of doing it. I mean, you know, that was pretty fast. Well, it was pretty fast for me to find the problem anyway. It was just a layering issue. Layer filtering. Cool. So where have we got to? We've got to... Now we need to implement clicking, I think. We need him to actually do something, at least into the console, print his opening gambit when I click on him. So thank you very much, by the way, for that. Oh, Bindi. Yeah, well, that's fine. That is the URL. You could just click part 2, or you could have said /part 2. And specifically today, you want to look at the branches, really, and you want to look at the stream number. So this is stream 5B is what we're doing today. I'm leaving these branches because at some point I'm going to be using these to help me keep track of what I've taught in the accompanying Udemy course and what I have not. All right, so look, the micro commit right now, the thing I want to do next is clicking NPC, clicking voice icon, prints opening gambit, or prints dialogue to console. Just nice and simple, one thing at a time. Okay, that's all I'm trying to do now, is that clicking that voice icon should print the dialogue to the console. And at some point, I'll refactor this stuff. I know I've got a lot of repeated code here. Not quite necessary yet. Let's get some more functionality working, I think. And then we will go for some Recast for kind of generic method, and that's pretty easy. In fact, I think that Recast 4 is so easy to genericize that I might do it now. No, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until I have a tiny bit more functionality. So how was it working with on mouse over enemy? We were to broadcast that we are mousing over an enemy. We're going to need a new delegate here. I think it's going to be something like this. On mouse over voice. I'm not really liking this name voice now. What's a better name for this component than voice? Could be dialogue, I guess. But that could get really confusing later when we've got dialogue UI on mouse over dialogue. No, we'll go on mouse over voice for the moment. Voice or object with voice. Just going to call it a voice. I'm not comfortable with the name, but I haven't got a better option right now. So we're going to say on mouse over voice. I'm going to make a delegate now. And then like so. So now I've set up a delegate in a very similar way to before. When does this get called? On mouse over enemy. Yep. Okay, so now how does the, where do we use this? Well, I don't know, I looked at that earlier. Let's go and do another little searching project. Let's go and have a look in the player control. And we'll see how we register for this thing. So we go camera raycaster.onMouseOverEnemy. We add our onMouseOverEnemy method to its list of delegates, to the camera raycaster list. That's okay, but we don't want to do this in player control. It's voice that wants to do this, I think. It's voice that wants to say, okay, I want to register myself for, I want to be notified when somebody clicks me. So we're going to need to do exactly this sort of thing over in the voice. On enable. Why am I instantiating the speech bubble on enable when I could do it on start? I'm going to do it on start. Instantiate the speech bubble prefab. Register for mouse clicks. And then I'm going to write a method that's registered for mouse clicks, which I can do like this. Clunk. And then I'm going to paste this in and start saying, okay, well, I've got a camera raycaster. Go find the camera raycaster. Why can't it find it? It's going to be namespacing. The camera raycaster is in the namespace rpg.cameraUI. So let's use that. rpg.cameraUI. All right, we've got that now. Awesome. Now, on mouse over voice plus equals, and then I'm just going to say on mouse over voice, or on click. On click. That'll do. Okay, private void on click. Let's just print from here. Enough uncertainty, enough code. We're going to say talkative dude clicked. So we're just going to prove that if I click this now, that we're getting here. Now, what's wrong with this? Cannot complicitly convert type to that. Oh, I think you don't put the method brackets when you add to a delegate list. I think it's just that, very confusingly. It's a method without the brackets, or I've forgotten completely how to do it. No, it is that. We need to take in something. So where do I set up my camera raycaster? Voice. Oh, we need to pass through a voice component. We need to know what we're clicking on. All right, so nearly there. Talkative dude clicked. In fact, we could say something a bit more useful. Voice.gameObject.name plus, instead of talkative dude, we can just say who got clicked, and we can go and get the name game object. Let's see if that stuff works. Voiced NPC, maybe. Yeah, maybe voiced NPC is good. Is it a component, like an audio trigger, though? Is it the same type of word? Who knows? Ugh, you're not working.
Well, met friend, I say, you're on the right path to the village.
I'm expecting in the console for this guy to receive this event. Ratio NPC. I should at least get clicked, even if I got nothing else. So something ain't working. We are registering for mouse clicks. We're going to find. Okay, let's go and see what the player control does. How did it used to do it? Yeah, no, that should be. Oh, look, you silly man. We are never. You know what though? The fact that I have not got an if about whether we're clicking the mouse. Should it not still be doing this every single frame? I mean, obviously I should have this if input mouse position do, if I actually click the mouse, but should it not have just been giving me this output every single frame? It should be spamming me, shouldn't it? Anvil. Thanks for being so engaged, Anvil. You're awesome, by the way.
Well, met friend.
Okay. So something ain't happening. What ain't happening? And what am I trying to do? Let's just go back to what I'm trying to do. I am trying to clicking voice icon prints dialogue text to console. We're on the way there. Let's go have a little butcher's hook at what happens here. So we declare the existence of a delegate like this. You're not a... Oh yeah. Yeah, you're not. Avi, NL. Avi, NL. And I'm saying Anvil. But look, thanks for correcting me. You're so right. It's just tokenizing. You know, I'm just, yeah. Makes patterns, yeah. Even my human brain can make patterns. Recast for voice. I never broadcast the event. Look at that. So on mouse over voice, and we pass through the voice hit, the thing that we hit. That's it. But it'll work now. And we fixed the problem where it would have been spamming, and now it'll only do it when I click it. Bet you a pound a pinch of stuff that it works. There you go. NPC Horatio 1 clicked. Okay, we're nearly there. Not quite at what I wanted to do in my commit, which is that I'm actually not just going to print who got clicked, but I'm going to print the dialogue. And where do I get that from? I'm going to print the conversation. We've already got a method. Conversation.get convo as string. Boom. Look at this. Personally, you would put the input condition around the conditional around the broadcasting of the event. Broadcasting events takes up some resources. So in the case of the enemy, we want to know, I think, every frame that we are moused over the enemy, not just for the purposes of changing the... I can't remember why I did it for that, to do with range and stuff. Same with walkable. Yeah, I mean, there's a question mark here as to whether you... It's just starting to do far too much. This thing's already doing two things. If it's also making decisions about whether we've clicked. I think that until the performance profiler tells me this is a problem, I'm not going to worry about it. But I am going to go AVII from New Zealand suggests maybe filter click here. So thank you. I'll put you right in the code there, if that's okay with you being in the code. It does take up a little bit of resources, but let's prove that it's a concern before we worry about it. Okay, let's see if we get the dialogue printed out when I click on this dude. Boom.
Well met, friend, I say, you're on the right path to the village.
There you go. 3 times. 3 times. 3 times. Is that mouse bounce? Is that how long I held down the thing? I need to latch this if I'm going to do it 3 times. 4 times. A whole bunch of times.
Well met, friend, I say, you're on the right path to the village.
Pretty early for me, yeah. So look, it's working. So before I get squirreled, I'm going to commit this because it is doing its job. And then think about what's most important to do next. I think what I want to do next is start mopping up a couple of those to-dos. This code is starting to annoy me, the amount of repeating code here. So why don't we try and make a generic method that instead of raycast for voice and raycast for enemy, we just raycast for voice, like that's what I want to do, isn't it? And then I want to raycast for, and then type T. And then I want to go look for type T, and then voice hit just becomes hit. And then, is this going to work? Set cursor now. How do you bind? How do you know what the talk cursor is? We're going to have to pass in the cursor, aren't we? Because that ain't going to make any sense otherwise. So, texture 2D. It's a bit minging, but at least it's starting to say what it really does, I guess. Cursor 2D, texture 2D. Texture 2D, new cursor. Or just cursor. Yeah, new cursor will do. So if hit, what's wrong with that? Cannot implicitly convert T to bool. If you go and find, what's wrong with that? Just return hit. Just return hit. Yeah, this method is doing too much, absolutely. So what I'm doing right now is trying to genericize this so that you can pass any type in, say Recast for that type. Why don't we form the ray inside there as well? That's a bit weird. I don't like this at all. We'll get there. I'm saying that we need, if it's going to do this for any type, we're going to need to know what the cursor is. So this would be new cursor in here. The only problem is it can't do this cast. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, I see. I've got to turn it all a little bit inside out. I think I'm going to back out of that. It doesn't matter right now. I have a monitor for cursor that casts a single raycast and passes it. Yeah, I need to do a bit more of a refactor on this. And to be honest, we're not got the functionality we need. It's not worth doing the refactoring. So this is where I'm going to stash. Back out of doing that genericizing for now. It's not worth it. Let it reload. Well, it will work. And just go a different direction. So what is my different direction? That's kind of a nice to have that I get rid of these lines of code, these shared lines of code. Just doesn't matter right now, right? The worst thing about it right now is that, actually the worst thing is that I'm getting this bouncing or whatever's going on where I click and I get multiple.
Well, net friend, I say, you're on the right path to the village.
Here. That's problematic for me. So let's solve that as a next kit. That's going to be problematic when we try and wire up some UI as well. So prevent multiple triggers of on mouse over voice. So why is that happening? Let's go and have a look back at where it happens. We've got the camera raycaster. We are performing raycasts every single update. And we are, okay, it's the input binding in here. See, okay, this is interesting. Back to your question, Avi, NL. When you are clicking and holding on the terrain and wanting to move around, you see you want to have an on-mouse event. On input dot, what is it? Wow, let's have a look in. On get mouse button. All the time I'm holding the left mouse button down now. Every single frame it's refiring off these events and causing him to head to the point on the screen that I'm clicking, that I'm raycasting to, right? So that's the desired action here. When we come to clicking on this dude with a dialogue over his head in the voice, it's different behavior for the voice. It's on get mouse button down. That's what we need. And why? So we only get one event. So down, so we only get one event. You get the idea, is that when I click this guy, this was my problem, I think, is that I want an on-mouse down, not an on-mouse. Therefore, we don't get the event called every single frame. And we don't get the situation where if I hold the mouse button down during a frame...
Well, net friend, I say, you're on the right path to the village.
Once, click once. Good, only getting one of these per click. Perfect. It's as simple as that. That's a good, really tight commit because it explains it. So prevent multiple triggers of on-mouse voice, and you can see exactly why there. That's all I need to do in there. And this, Anvi, is why... and this is post-rationalization, but this is a good reason to put this input handling here because it's different each time, right? It depends on the voice class. So I've pushed it down to the voice class because of that. And if performance causes me to push it back upwards, well, we'll worry about that later. Often performance and readability are the antithesis of each other, but we have no performance issues right now. I presume we have no performance issues right now. Why don't we do... why don't you, Ben, remember how to use Unity? Because I just don't. Because I'm in the wrong tab. There you go. That's why I don't. So, how are we doing for 47, 77, 85? So, lowly Mac as well.
Well, net friend, I say, you're on the right path to the village.
So, look. A Radeon something, which I won't understand anyway. Radeon Pro 580. That's probably equivalent to a GTX 1050, maybe 1060. You know how I bet you could find out using Google. Radeon Pro 580 versus GTX. What's the top result? Oh, well, that doesn't tell me anything. You'd actually have to look at the results, and in which case I'm off topic. Squirrel! It's good to have a squirrel. Can I be bothered? I seem to be bothered. Do you guys ever have problems with this sort of stuff? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to control my focus. It doesn't matter. It's like a graphics card of some description. All right, let's have a look at the chat. How are we doing? By the way, have we moved recently? I'm going to lift my desk up. I'm going to move, and then I might even go and get myself a cup of green tea. That's I know how to live on the edge. And then I'll be back. But meanwhile, move yourselves, guys. Stand up. Don't sit around all day. So let's revise these things about a computer that bugger you up. Can I change my audio source so you can hear me better? Could you tell me, please, wonderful people, if you can hear me now? The sound quality should be different, but I'm now not using that mic. I'm rather using the Mac's internal mic, which means that when I do my stretches, you should be able to hear me better. It's much louder, is it? That's interesting. That was Mac. Yeah, Mac have put a half decent GPU in now, and in future, it looks like they're going towards VR capable and everything else. So quality is terrible. Dat breezy. Don't worry, it's only temporary. I'm just going to stretch and then I'll put the mic back. All right. So a bit of a. I don't know if you can hear my back crunking there, but the reason I'm doing this in front of you is because I want you guys to stretch too. If you're sitting down, please stand up, move your bodies. So some circles. If you do these circles right, they're really nice because they mobilize your thoracic spine, which is cool. So that can be a useful thing to do. Other thing to do is remember you've got to train your muscles that your shoulders shouldn't be sitting all the way forward like this. You don't want your humerus head to be sitting forward of your acromion on the top of your scapula. You want it back. So that's the other thing. You've got to train your posterior delts to hold your arm back. The other thing is that your hands spend a lot of time pronated like that, so you probably want to do stretches like this as well. I'm doing that to my back as well, again, because I want to get some movement into my vertebrae. Oh, crack, crack, crack. Maybe a little bit of jumping down on the spot. Whatever you need, just get yourself going, all right? Put a post on the community site about what is that, Bindi? About jumping around now and then and keeping yourself alive. Maybe I should, or maybe that's not what you're talking about. Yeah, you're quite right, and Avi, that method name is horrible over there. I don't like it either, and I will change it. There's just mad rush to be changing it. Hopefully my sound has come back to being beautiful and wonderful now. I'm just going to check my volume. You said I was much louder when I went to the Mac's internal mic. It shouldn't have been much louder. You know what? I don't... This mic is so sensitive to distance. Maybe even on my streams, I need to be doing this. So obviously if I'm here, then that's the type of presence of voice you get when we're on a coarse quality sound, because I have this thing in and I can hear. I could stream with this in. It's a bit distracting, but if I'm like that, you probably won't notice. And then I can hear exactly where I need to be, and I know that I need to be kind of over here somewhere. So maybe I do that. I know I'm a bit louder now, but I should be more present. All right. Is the duplicate VS instancing when you double-click the script inside Unity? Yes, it is, Bindi. If so, this was the only post I found so far that offered solutions. You don't want to try this while on stream, but there are several suggested solutions. Thank you very much. I will put that down there on my desktop. My desktop is tidy enough that things that are on it all need something doing with. Hey, you've seen that cool mode? That's fun, isn't it? I don't know why Jan's there. Hello, Jan. Cool. All right, so where are we? So the message should be on mouth over, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get the namings off. I haven't touched this code for 9 months. We'll make it nicer. Perceptual lucidity games. That was Maxter. Yep, we've said that. Quality's terrible. Hopefully it's good again now. Have you all moved? It would be over Avi NL. When's it like I'm talking in a tin can? Is that when I was on the mic's internal speaker? Internal microphone. Hopefully it's not now. Exercising, yeah, may do some stuff about exercising. I might start just putting that into what we do. If you guys are interested as a little kind of content for the weekend, I'll do some stuff about exercising because yeah, it's a big passion of mine, keeping fit. Why every 2 minutes you get welcome to the chat? It's not me doing that. No, I guess I guess maybe Twitch thinks you're disconnecting all the time, perceptual lucidity, and I don't know. Yeah, there you go. Avi says exactly the same thing. I thought you might have been a picture of Jan with his shirt off. No, it's not I don't really want a picture of Jan with his shirt off. Thank you very much. Known the chat for years, love him to bits, but not that way. What else? Yeah, on the mic's mic. I haven't lost a connection to the stream, just the chat. Happens sometimes. Oh, Twitch being doo-doo balls. Doo-doo balls, that's interesting. How are we doing this morning? All right, so look, we're making some progress. I think some. I mean, it's not amazing, but we're getting there. You know, if we keep going like this, then we'll finish this RPG in a few years. I mean, in fairness, we only need to put inventory, dialogue, questing, and then all the ancillary systems in, and we're done. So this is the progress so far. At least I'm moving forward. You can't complain about that. So what needs to happen next? Next, I think I need to eat the frog. The frog is actually messing around with UI. I don't really like UI, but I think that, you know, we've seen that we've got the elements of a conversation. Sure, the conversation structure is very limited and simple, but this isn't the worst thing about it, is it? The worst thing about this conversation from a player, I always think about the build and what a player would experience. The worst thing about this, apart from my beautiful icon above this head, which is I'm just going to leave as a, you know, as a placeholder for the moment.
Well, my friend, I
this,
say,
actually,
you're on the right path to the village.
Icon changing, nothing's happening, is it? From a game build point of view, nothing's happening. So what? I get a log in my console. The player's not going to be super excited about that. Something player facing is going to need to happen. So that's what I'm going to commit. Is that the dialogue shows on a screen space UI. We're going to have some screen space user interface, which we already have. I mean, when we play the game, certain amount of screen space UI pops up, and we're going to need to pop up his dialogue on the screen. The whole conversation for now, then we'll worry about the threading of the conversation and how we time it and so on and so forth. Right, I am going to go and get myself a cup of tea. Any chance I can lower the game volume? There's a huge chance I can lower the game volume. I didn't even know that it was playing. Let me just see why I don't realize that's playing. That's weird. The default output is the because... Okay, I'm just going to test something. Thank you for pointing that out. Firstly, why can I hear myself now? Shouldn't be able to, because the QuickTime player, which is where my mic's going through, should be going only to the Teradek. Right, let's just try a couple of things. I turn that back on. Now it seems to be routing the QuickTime player only to the Teradek. Good. Step one. Step two. My general audio output is a composite of both the internal speakers and the HDMI output. Good. Now let me see if I can hear game sound. I can, but it's super quiet. So I've got no concept of how loud that is. So what do I do about that? I guess I turn my volume up to full. No, not to full. Depends whether somebody else is on Skype. So if I do that, I should be able to hear the game volume. I would need to be able to empathize with you guys and realize what you're hearing. Is that Rick's ridiculous noise, or is that a duck in my garden? What is going on? That's Rick. He's put a ridiculous noise in the game. Thank you, Rick. Okay, so the bottom line is it's still too loud. Now I can do something about it. I can come to my volume mixer and I can turn it down a bit. So let's do a test. Testing 1, 2, 3. How do I sound over the top of the game?
Well, Ned friend, I say, you're on the right path to the village.
That's completely in accordance, in conflict. Sam's voice there as a placeholder is completely in conflict with this NPC saying, "Why, you old duffer, I'm surprised you made it this far," but it get the point. How's that game sound now, by the way? Better. Could go even lower. Okay, well, I'll make it even lower. You just want a waffer of sound in the background. I love this sound control thing, by the way. If you guys have a Mac, then you might want to check out sound control. Here it is. I'll give you a link. Although I would have thought they'd have put an hutta in front of it. There you go. That might work. It wouldn't have worked before, would it? Because there's no freaking reason to format that as a URL unless you're really smart. Okay, cool. So that's good software. If you've got a Mac, I like it. Lets you do stuff you can't otherwise do, which you probably should better do. Surely should be built into macOS. So it's at this stage I need to go away and get myself a cup of tea. So what do I leave you with? I guess I just leave you with the build, and I leave you with Horatio wandering round. Maybe the windmill. The windmill's quite soothing. We'll just have Horatio wandering round, and I shall be right back.
Well, my friend, I say, you're on the right path to the village.
I'll probably turn the sound up for this bit, actually. How do I do be right back? I can't even do screen overlays on this setup. I like a lot about this Teradek. I like the appliance factor of it. But I don't like the fact that I can't do simple overlays. So here you go. Here's my low-tech solution. Professional Streaming 101 here. Be right back. That's pretty obvious. Make an image and load it in a viewer, or that, yeah. That is my high-tech solution. Hey, you know what, though? I tell you what, I'll put this over my face, and then where you expect my ugly mug, plus that means you won't see my bottom as I leave the room, which is another benefit. You certainly won't see it when I do that. Be right back. Oh, this is all technical, this stuff. 1 minute you're coding, and the next minute it's like, how do I handle a piece of text? All right, I'm going to do this. Leave you a little bit of sound. If it works, it's not stupid, exactly. It kind of feels a bit silly. All right, see you guys in a moment. I won't be too long. Like about 5 minutes, by the way, max. Another couple of minutes, guys. I'll be back with you. Right. I am right back as promised with you. Thank you very much for hanging around, those of you who are still here that I didn't lose during that. So let's catch up on this chat. Then I've got a question for you. In fact, let's do both at the same time. My question for you, and by the way, I'm going to ask your opinion, ask you to vote now, but I may not take your advice, which sounds horrible, because you're the vocal minority that are here on Twitch. Your response will be very biased to this, but I'm interested to hear. We've just done a bunch of stuff this morning, a bit more than I thought I was going to do, which is good. I was really worried that these streams were going to lead to zero productivity. And I'm wondering what you think about the pace compared to a Udemy course. The basic choice I'm trying to make is, is it actually essential now that we also produce a part 2 course that's independent of these Twitch streams? Or do you think that these Twitch streams, if they were to be topped and tailed and edited a bit and some article lectures put in to fill in the blanks, and of course the repo, do you think that the Twitch streams alone could potentially be the course? Is this pace in this particular, this is the first stream where we actually have been putting this functionality in, where potentially it's fast enough and followable enough to be the course. Okay, I'm not challenging you, but I could put the challenges in, or at your stage, are you advanced enough to just challenge yourself? You know, you engaged, you want to make your RPG. What do you think? I'd be interested. There's a poll up, and I'm very happy to also make the part 2 course. The consequence is, of course, that I will stream less while I have to stop and then summarize what I've done into a Udemy course. The advantage is you get something that's more like the Udemy courses you're used to, rather than just edited streams. In both cases, you get to see everything we're doing. The latter is, you know, making a Udemy course a lot more work for us, but I don't know, I just thought I'd throw it out there that it's a small possibility. If you guys are like, why bother making another course when you're already going through it all on the stream? Well, then I would take your advice, or may take your advice. So anyway, there's one vote there. We'll let that poll stay up on the screen for a moment. You know, you can hide those polls if you want to. You can click the little voting studio button. I think it's in the bottom middle of your player, and you can say hide on a toggle there if you want to. Ben, who's our host tonight? Oh, okay, Little God Pan. That's a cool name. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Yes, I'm talking about T. That's cool. We are in follower-only chat mode. So it's good that you've been following us for a little while. Did we fall asleep? No, I did not fall asleep on the job. I was just going to get this stuff. So, hold up mug. Instantiate, prevent reflections. Hope that you can read it. Not quite. It's a bit out of focus. Instantiate cheesy grin. Hold for effect. Stop this crap. Okay, so yeah, my mug says it took 40 years to look this good. So where are we? Stream should be independent from the course. I think you're right. That's the initial intention, just sticking it out there. I think cutting out all the irrelevant, for lack of a better word, information would be much better for learning. I'm fine with either, though. Yeah. Well, I think both is going to be the answer. Having Twitch stream in chat is nice too. Yeah, so far it's been pretty helpful for me. It's great to have your feedback as I go, and as long as I keep cracking on like this, it's all good. What chat mode am I in? What chat mode am I in? That could be why I keep getting bounced. Lol. I'm in follower-only chat. Followers have to be followed for 10 minutes. That's where I am. You can see on my screen. Should be all right, shouldn't it? I'm thinking if there's somebody hasn't even followed us for 10 minutes, then maybe they should do before they interact in the chat. I think that seems fair, but might be why you're being bounced. I don't know. Let me know. I'd be interested to hear. Right, how are we doing? The poll only has a single answer, so I'm going to leave it up for a while. Anyway, you guys can control that yourself. Where were we? Did I pre-commit what I was going to do next? Yes. Dialogue shows... Oh, excuse me, chilly. Bit too early for technical coding. Yawns. Yeah, hey, Mark, how you doing? It is a bit too early. Actually, I guess I'm discovering whether I'm a morning guy or an evening guy. I might be slowly discovering that I'm a morning guy because I've woken up at some ungodly hour and now actually getting some stuff done. So... who would have thought it, Mark? Welcome to the chat. Anyway, what we have managed to do is have our icon change. The duck. I'm going to have to turn this duck down.
I say, you're on the right path to the village.
We've managed... I'm just going to mute the audio, actually. We've managed to get it so that the cursor changes when you go over an NPC and that the dialogue for that NPC is shown in the console. Next thing we're going to do is show it in the actual game UI. So I've got to go and work out how my game UI works. Oh, that's fun. It's good that you guys like both the streams and the courses. To keep the streams sustainable, we need you to keep subscribing and using bits. And I don't really know where our revenue comes from on Twitch. Let's see. Tell you, because these things are normally massively 80-20. But if it's going to be long-term sustainable, then it's going to need... Let's just have a quick look. I can probably help you to help, if that makes sense. Comes from Twitch Prime subscription. So if you have Amazon Prime and you have a Twitch account and you link them and you use Twitch Prime, then like a bunch of you have done, then we get a few dollars a month for that. Not much, though. Then a whole bunch of people have been kind enough to do paid subscriptions without being Twitch Prime. Obviously, if you back us at tier 2, you are going to get extra custom emotes, but you also get higher priority in the chat, and you give us 240% more money because of the way it works. We get 60% of a tier 2 rather than 50% of a tier 1. And then at tier 3, you get your code reviewed personally, like's happening tonight at 8 p.m. We currently have 3 tier 3 subscribers. And tier 2 and above, you also get linked to your Twitch page from our homepage. And if there's something else you'd like at tier 2, let me know. If there's something that's like, hey, at tier 2 for $9.99 a month, you could do X, and it would be cool. It would give us some coverage. I mean, maybe you could go to, we could give you a link to wherever you want, actually. Maybe it could be out to your game studio, whatever you like. So that's on the homepage. Let us know in the chat, actually. It'd be really cool to hear what you'd like at tier 2, because frankly, and there's no harm in telling you precisely what our intention here is, we would like tier 2 to be the go-to for most people. And I haven't quite worked out how to make it compelling enough. Tier 3 would be the premium offering, $25 a month for those who really want the chance of getting regular personal but public code reviews. So that should be the kind of the thing to aspire to, but it's not totally necessary for everybody. It's right for the people it's right for. And then the tier 1 subscription ought to feel a little bit like it's the lowest and that it's worth upgrading from. That's from a marketing point of view. What you want to try and do is make the middle option the obvious one. I've completely failed in doing that so far. So why don't you guys tell me how I make the tier 2 $9.99 a month option completely no-brainer, because you're getting so much benefit over the $4.99 one that it's got to be worth it. It's a big jump from the $4.99 one, not because of the price difference necessarily, but because a lot of people have Amazon Prime and it's going actually from free, effectively free, to suddenly $9.99. So it's not free, of course, because you're using your Twitch Prime subscription on us rather than some superior streamer, which there must be out there somewhere. Anyway, enough about the commercialization of it. Thanks for being here. Thought I'd save Mark the trouble of hearing technical coding stuff for a minute while he wakes up. That's very kind, Bindi. He wants to save up for a lifetime subscription on the next Kickstarter. That's very cool of you. And for any of you who want to follow me on Kickstarter, I won't be running another Kickstarter until somebody has taken this baton. I've grabbed the RPG baton right now because the RPG is 2 Kickstarters old and we've still got promises, a lot of promises outstanding on it. I've grabbed the baton. I'm holding that baton until somebody else takes that RPG baton off me, which is going to be Rick and or Sam. Why do I say and or? Because in logic, or is also and. Okay. Like, what? So I just say or. But then I say and or, and then I think you don't need to say and or, because and or plus or is, anyway, you get the idea, you're coders. Make Rick do it solo. I think I've heard him say he'd love to. Yes and no, because we still need to prototype it to the end, and he's going to need my help with that. And then by the time we've done that, we'll have to do it all again, and it's kind of complicated. I won't bore you with all the details. Anyway, no chance of going through the RPG questions at the moment. Why is that, Mark? Too early in the day or something like that? Oh, I see. That's what you're saying. It's too early to be going into the coding questions. You could exclusive or them. Trivial86, thanks for being a subscriber. And what do you mean you could exclusive or them? Oh, you're being XOR. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why I often, when I say or, I mean, or as in, the truth table for or, one or the other or both. But anyway, this is really digressing. Let's get this UI malarkey working. So the first question I have is, where does this game canvas where is it? I mean, it's not there in the scene view, and that's because Unity, in its infinite 2D, 3D weirdness, it's kind of there, which is kind of odd, isn't it? Isn't that weird? So the canvas is a scale with screen. It's a screen space overlay. The difference between screen space and screen space camera is that you can have camera effects and the like. You could have particles floating in front of the UI. You could have all sorts with the screen space camera, post-processing, etc. Screen space overlay literally just bungs the pixels on top, which is what we're doing for now, but we could go to camera. Anyway, this is all the way of me working out how on earth our UI even works. Now I'm going to start to have things popping up on this. Well, that's going to be fun, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? How are we going to do that? Perceptual lucidity, it's sub 4 a.m. Break out the discrete maths books. Go for it. I love what's discrete maths? Can probably do it, but I don't know it by name. Anyway, I love maths in general. Ugh, I need a UI element. Poo. I don't like UI stuff. Rick, come and help me with the UI. Don't like it. Sucks. I'm going to have to deal with it, aren't I? So I'm going to create a Text Mesh Pro. It's going to have to be a text. I've never even used Text Mesh Pro. This is going to be a disaster. Live. Oh my god. I'm not going to use Text Mesh Pro. Rick can convert it to Text Mesh Pro. Okay, let's just create myself a UI text object in here. Let's just call it dialogue. Oh, without the UE. Why? Just because I can. Lorem1. There you go. In my text expander, that's a lot of dialogue. How's that looking? Not. Okay, so why is that not even showing? What's the problem with that? Sort order shouldn't be the sort order. Let's go have a look at this dialogue thing. It's too long for a start. I just want a little bit. Arial, font size, whack it up a bit. Box size needs to get bigger, so I need the UI. Basically, I should go to 2D, grab the UI scaling thingy like that. I'm just going to find somewhere on the screen. Rick was saying down low. I could go between these balls down here. Let's try that. Could go something like that. I'm just going to put it there for the moment. It's a space, isn't it? Can't argue with that. Let's bring the font size down. Something like that. How's it going to be? Centralized, maybe. Centralized, maybe. Font size, maybe. Yellow, maybe. That's beautifully ugly. This is good programmer art. Look at that. Lorem ipsum dolor sit amit. Consecutor adipissing elite. Sorry about that. I didn't write it. That's standard stuff. All right. So what happens if I play the game now? We have lots of complaints. What's wrong with that? Oh my god. It's gone completely nuts. Now, is this because I was halfway through importing Text Mesh Pro and then I give up? Windows get GUI styles. I've really broken something. Where did that Text Mesh Pro element come in? I don't know. Let's look at source control. Let's see what's changed. Something is bust. Yeah, this tip importer thing is really, I think it's upsetting Unity. What has changed? In the level, the village 2, you know what I can do? I can just revert the village 2, I think. Yeah. So this dialogue, as I've already decided what it's going to be, let's play with this a little bit. Let's take this dialogue, dump it down as a prefab. I know we don't have nested prefab, so this is not going to work if we have a game canvas prefab. Do we have a game canvas prefab? Yes, we do. I know nested prefabs are coming super soon. How super soon? Have we already got Unity 2.3? Let's have a look. Check for updates. 2018.2.3. 2018.3, that's the term I'm looking for. That's when nested prefabs are coming. No, I don't think we have it yet. Okay. Anyway, I am just going to... I'll try copying this into the Windows copy buffer, reverting the... How do I do that? Reset the village 2, because I done bust it. Play the game, see if it's no longer done busted. Yeah, they're in preview. I'm not going to put them in the course until they are proper. Okay, so now we're not getting everything complained about, and now I'm going to try and paste. Oh, wow, it worked. I copied and pasted the good old, it's not Windows, is it? It's Mac, good old Mac copy buffer. Managed to keep it. Now, is that font as ugly as I think it is? I think it probably is not. I've got to look at the scaling. The scaling's 1:1. I think it's okay. Play the game. Oops, see if we get blank font. Then all we need to do is find its text object and set it. And I have achieved the commit that I'm trying to achieve, which I've now lost. By the way, that's the problem with... Oh, no, look at that. Good old... That's another thing I like about Source Tree. Look, I pre-committed the idea I was doing that. I stashed, and it still kept my potential commit name. So my intention stays there, and it really helps with my squirrel. Squirrel, squirrel. because I get distracted easily because I'm excited about so many things. So what am I doing? I am just going to wire this puppy up now. So that, I would suggest, means I don't want to wire every NPC to that piece of dialogue. That doesn't work for me. Where's the prefab, the game canvas? So if I now overwrite the game canvas prefab, it will have a dialogue sub-object in it. Can I link the NPC instance, at least for the moment, Horatio? Where is Horatio? Here, Horatio, there you go. Can I link his voice component straight to the sub-object inside the game canvas prefab? Don't know. Let's go find out. Firstly, why can I not see Horatio? Because I'm in 2D mode and I'm in the game tab. That'll explain it. Boom, there you go, Mr. Horatio. So I need to play with your voice, I'm afraid. I need to go and say where, in fact, it's probably the very first thing we should serialize. For now, we're going to serialize the moment. Oh, serializable? That's not what I meant. Serialize field, that's what I want. What is this thing? I want to find a... Well, it's of type text, isn't it? So RPG.camera UI, is it okay for voice to talk to UI directly? Yeah, I think it is, using Unity Engine.ui. Good thing about namespaces, you get to sit and think, should I really be doing this? Let's find a text, and then let's just say dialog box. Okay, now I'm going to go to do. Consider singleton or some other pattern here of finding this dialog box. But now let's just make it work. So now the question is, on Mr. Horatio, he, in a moment when this compiles, should be asking for a text box where he can put his text. There it is. Can I give it that? A sub-object in a prefab. This is all going to change soon anyway. Dialog text on the dialog prefab. Probably. We'll find out whether this works when we start. It'll only matter when we start trying to reapply these things to multiple levels. If I click on him, okay, well, that's all very well. I think it's found it. It's got a reference to it, but we're not setting it. So let's go set it. So instead of printing conversation.getConvo as string, why don't we go, this is the moment of truth. We're going to have a fully fledged dialog system in a minute. Dialog box.text equals conversation.getConvo as string. Well, isn't that exciting? Let's have a look. Would be if I took the right number of brackets. Oi! Just get off. Okay. Let's have a look at Twitch Inspector. Are we? Oh, all good. I think we're all good. Stream's good. Let's play. Were you referring to discrete mathematics for the matrices and linear algebra? Don't think so. I don't think I've ever used the word discrete mathematics in my entire life. Oh, that didn't work, did it? Look. What happened there then? So let's just check his reference. Where's your speech bubble? Sorry, your dialogue text. What are you referencing? Here. NPC says, why you old duffer? Right, there's your dialogue. Dialogue text. Okay, what have I done wrong? Click dialogue box.text equals. Well, okay, let's just check a couple of things then. Dialogue box.text equals, I don't know. Hello. That'll do. Let's just go to the basics. Are we talking to the right game object? Has that link between the sub-object of the prefab and the instance worked? It seems sketchy, but I don't know what they're changing behind the scenes. Hello, it is. So if that's working, then strictly speaking, that should be working. So I'm just going to try again. Obstinately. I'm going to obstinately refuse to believe that it doesn't work. 42. The answer is probably 42. You sod. Why would that not work? In fact, how can that even not work? Because if I print this same thing to the console, it works. And the type is right. It's a string and we're not getting any errors. Well, now you show it. Hang on. Give us a break. That's weird. Well, okay, so for a start, let's set the dialogue, let's clear the dialogue text box at the beginning. Let's just say that. Just on start, let's have the dialog box clear. Not sure that individual voice scripts should all be doing that. To do, move this up to game instance or somewhere, okay? Because we don't want every single instance of something that has a voice on it to be clearing that text box. But for now, this is the only place we have the code that handles this stuff. It's fine as long as we've got a to-do to move it later. What is going on here? Okay, we have a clear text box. Dude. Look, somehow, and I don't know how, Horatio, Horatio's layer's right. Oh dear, I'm confused now. Why has this broken? Yeah, okay, so look, that print happened. How on earth are you not setting the text box, dude? Dude, that makes totally no sense. That makes totally no sense. Guys, what's going on? Makes me wonder whether get convo as string is returning something a bit weird. Returning a string. Am I allowed a new line inside that text box? Is that breaking it? Hello. Can I take escape characters in here? \n, blah, blah, blah. What does that do? Better do it. I'm going to assume that it's maybe something to do with... Well, I can't spell replies. That \n. Let's just try that. How on earth is that text box not sitting when immediately next to it I've got a log entry that does work? That making no sensey to me at all. Come on. Give me a break. And yet if I put some known string in here, like known string, as a string, and I play that, and it comes up saying known string, I'll eat my hat. Okay, at least it didn't. But I bet if I play again it will, for whatever reason. I don't know why I'm thinking that. No, it doesn't. Okay. But it has been doing it. Why is this flaky? Why is that flaky? Okay, I'm going to presume it's because of the way that we are finding this dialogue here. Now, there's lots of other ways of finding it. One thing we could do, we don't use a lot, is we could use a tag. Is there any problem with that? No. Spotted it. It's a game object instantiated. Yeah, I think it's the way I'm doing the link. So what I'm going to do is make a tag called dialog box, something like that, dialog box. And let's just find game object by tag. So instead of doing this dialog box and connecting like that, let's do a tag. Let's say that we're going to need to make an instance variable, so I shouldn't really have got rid of that. I should have just changed it to an instance variable for state. It's not even state, it's a cached reference. So it's no longer a serialized field, it is just a private instance variable to the dialog box. We go find it on start. We're going to say that dialog box equals find object, or what's the thing by tag? Is it find object by tag? Game object dot tag dot find with tag, and then the tag string reference yuck. So I'm going to have to go to do yuck to consider getting rid of it later. Now, what's wrong with this? Find object cannot convert type. Yes, because it's just going to find the game object. Now, can I just cast it to a dialog box? Sorry, to text. Probably is text. No, I can't, because there's not going to have an implicit conversion. I'd have to go get the component, the dialog box component, off this thing and assume that it has one. It's all a bit minging, isn't it? It's all a bit minging. Lots of things are going to have text. I could add a new script that specifies it by script. Yeah, I need to do a .text. Sure. Where am I not doing my .text? Where was I? Here, dialogbox.txt. I was doing that, and it did work, but it wasn't doing it reliably. It's this it's the way that it's finding the reference. I could just find the game object, the dialog box, like that, or I could make. It's a bit disgusting. I could get component text like this. Now I've got access to the dialog box. Let's just try that and see if it is reliable. What I'm looking for is it reliably setting this data. Yeah, I could use asserts. There's all sorts of things we could do, but is object set not set to the blah 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 27. You cannot find anything with the tag dialog box. Why not? Because I never set it. Well, that'll explain it. Don't like the string referencing. Yuck. Yucky, yuck, yuck, yuck. But you know that. There you go. Known string. So the known string has come in now. So I think this is suggesting that we have a slightly more robust. I don't need to be setting strings to blank here. I think that the strings can be set to blank just in the inspector. This is the correct place. So there, or some placeholder. But whatever, it's the job of the inspector. Okay, we're getting there now. If I go back to Visual Studio, and this now should work. So you can't connect that sub-object of a prefab as a reference. It's just not going to reliably find it. There you go. NPC says, why you old duffer, I'm surprised you made it this far, and then player, etc. So I can put my /n back in, although we're not going to do that because ultimately we're not going to have like /n's and all that kind of ugly stuff in here. I will put it in just for learning, but long term, obviously, this is not how we're going to do multiple lines of dialogue. It's going to be done completely differently. So just for the learning, let's just see what happens with that new line. Make this guy a bit bigger. Make sure that new lines do come through, just because I'm curious. And then I'm going to commit this and move on, because we have made, yet again, some progress, which is a rare but amazing thing. This mouse is starting to really ache my arm. I hope Mikey has got the Logitech adapter that I need to stop getting tennis elbow from using this mouse. Okay, let's just try this. Bigger placeholder. Bible Thump 1. What's that about? Placeholder. Click. Oi. Click. Hard to click on one of these dudes. Maybe we should be able to click on like somewhere else. There you go. Player reply. So the /n's are working. Also want to make sure the data doesn't persist. It won't, because this placeholder is in the inspector here. So it will initialize with placeholder, which is what we want. Okay, cool. So let's move this back down. And we have the first line of dialogue actually working. It's a miracle. Cool. So dialogue shows on screen space UI. It does. It's a miracle. Okay, now then we think about what we need to do next. Rick will probably dive back in later, by the way, and I think I've got a meeting. Oh, I'm supposed to have a meeting with Sam like right now. He could dive in right now and have a look. I'll just see if he's on. Just going to see if Sam's around on Slack. Give me a second, because we did have a meeting with him, then I kind of cancelled it. Just tell him that I'm live on Twitch. Just quick catch up on my Slack here. Somebody saying they love the Unreal course. Okay. He is waiting for me. He could hop on Zoom if he wants to. I'll just open Zoom and let Sam hop in. I did suggest it wasn't really necessary this morning, but what Sam and I are doing is regular code reviews of the RPG, so that he is starting to feel ownership of the course. Now, is this doing something weird? Should be okay. Tell me if you're getting any weird echoing coming through, and I can also listen over here on my preview. I'll just go and check that the channel is okay, and then we'll crack on. It's been nice to actually make some progress this morning. So I've got Zoom open. Is it okay? It does appear to be. Okay, cool. So we're just going to wait now for somebody else potentially to join. So I'll put this up in the corner. And we can go from there. Okay, so I'd better create a breakout room because certain people don't like... I can't because I'm not the host. Okay. So I better just tell everybody on my Slack that we are live. So... All right, Sam might dive in and talk to us about this, but it's all good. So, right, we actually have got to an interesting point now anyway, architecturally, which is where, if we zoom out a little bit to our dialogue, Horatio has this really simple opening gambit, player response, and then so on. We could potentially even continue this model and support like 2 options of player response. But for now, we're just trying to get to the point of a simple quest giving. So I think the next thing that's rubbish is that we don't know who's talking, and it just 2 or N. What are you asking about, guys? Just 2 or N what out of interest? Oh, N, yeah. N possible. Player responses, 2 to start with, binary to start with. But yes, long term it could be N, and that's where we get into dialogue trees and all sorts of other wonderful complexities that are all possible. Again, for now, what I'm trying to get to is just the very core experience that when I get near Horatio, firstly, he's... I don't know who's talking, right? I've got to know who's talking somehow. So let's deal with that and deal with the idea that you can click through the dialogue somehow. So we're going to need some affordance that you can click through it. We're going to need to know who's speaking. Maybe know how far through the conversation we are. Rick would give us some idea about that. By the way, Bindi, well done for taking top spot in the cheers again, which is quite fun. All right, so yeah, that's what I need to do next. So I walk up to this dude. Oh, and Avi NL, thank you for tier 2. Awesome. Welcome to Tier 2, Avi. I really appreciate that. That's cool. We will get you your new custom emotes as soon as I can work out how to upload them to Twitch. You're supposed to get better emotes at Tier 2, but Twitch, I just don't know how you do it yet. So no brand new emotes for you just yet, but it won't be long. What would you like at Tier 2, you guys, as emotes, by the way? And thank you very much. You're now supporting us at a 240% higher revenue to us from your subscription, which is awesome. So 2 questions, Avi, as you've just subscribed. Number 1, what type of custom emote would you like at Tier 2? And number 2, what would you like us to link to when we refresh our page? You know, on the GameDev.tv Twitch homepage, we have this, and we have a list of subscribers. Of course, you won't be on it yet because it's not automated, but when we refresh it weekly, this list here, updated weekly, what would you like me to link out to? Would you like me to link out to a Twitch channel? Yeah, that's what we're doing by default. So that would be absolutely fine. We will do that. So that will be cool. In fact, I can do that for you right now. You can be the quickest person ever to get linked straight out. If I can find it, let's just do that now. GameDev.tv, you're the latest guy. So let's just take this for inspiration, and you'll be linked before you can say, blimey, I'm linked. Although clearly you probably can say, blimey, I'm linked quicker than that. AVIINL. Believe that's it. Like so. Submit. Stop editing. Check our homepage. Apart from my broken... No, I've completely broken the Markdown. You guys know about Markdown? Clearly I don't. I do actually know about Markdown. I've just got it wrong. Quite hard to read in here. What am I doing wrong? Tier 3, Tier 2, GameDev. Oh, I see what I've done. Kind of stuck it in between the two. Avi NL. Rick Davis. I think that's right now. Let's have a look at our page. There you go. Avi NL. Bloom, click on that. And there is Avi NL's wonderful Twitch channel. So what have you been streaming? Let's go and have a little butcher's hook. Blimey, you're linked. There you are. My God, you have a face and everything. It's amazing. So thank you very much for being here. You now have extra traffic to your channel. So awesome. Congratulations. That's cool. How are we doing for followers and stuff? We're nearly 1,000. Let's get to 1,000 followers. Anyway, that's all cool. So you're very welcome. And we'll continue to do that. And that's the benefit of Tier 2. Or one of the benefits of Tier 2, your custom emote. So tell me what custom emote you want next. That would be awesome. Now, let's get the dialogue working further than it is right now. So, hey, where's Horatio? Oh, he's right there. I thought I'd started the player near Horatio. Sorry, Rick, about losing your initial player start point, but I guess you'll be okay. Well, don't worry, if you don't know about a custom emote, we'll get something cool. Boom. NPC says, blah, blah, blah. I'm surprised you made it this far. Player replies, why, I'll get you, old duffer. The plot thickens, doesn't it? I'm not going to put arrays in here yet or anything. We don't need it, right? We've only got an opening gambit and a player response for the moment. Later, of course, all this will go to N, as Avi is saying. We don't need N at the moment. We just need, the worst thing about it right now is that this is not an acceptable dialogue, right? Unless it all just kind of smashes up on the screen. It's not really acceptable. So, well, or is it? Actually, I've got a choice. I could just say this is acceptable. Let's just make this placeholder bigger. And then let's think about the questing, which is the frog, the thing that's harder. Sam, yeah, why don't I try just doing that? It's a bit ugly, but it's kind of easy to do this bit about, like, each of the two people, but it's much harder to do the questing properly. Why don't I just do a bottom-aligned box like this with no placeholder? NPC says, player replies, or you reply. You replies? You reply. Okay, let's just do that for now, actually. It's the most minimal. Irresistible Jebby, I'm 50% there to subbing too. Managed to switch my Prime to this account. Oh, you don't need to sub, Mark, but if you want to use your Twitch, it won't cost you anything, but I refuse for you to pay anything with the amount you do for us. But if you want to use your Twitch and we're just leeching money from Amazon, I'm very fine with that. I think Jeff Bezos can afford it. So, you know what? I'm going to suggest, apart from this is really, dude, it's hard as nails to click on. Or the click isn't working again. Dude, there you go. NPC says that. You reply, why, I'll get you, you young whippersnapper. You know what? We have dialogue. That is dialogue. That will... Ooh, why have we got screen position out of frustrum? Is that a one-off? I think it's a one-off because of how I was manipulating the scene view, probably. Yes, it was. Okay, cool. So that's good. I'm happy with that. Let's just say that that's it for now, and then move on to the concept of triggering a quest. I just need to check my Slack because I think Sam feels like he's been blown off by me by not turning up. Or maybe he's scared of diving live into Twitch. I don't know. We will see. Okay, other people talking about fresh veggies from people's gardens. Anyway, what did we do just now? Very little. We're just saying settling on most minimal dialogue for now. Okay, so what am I going to do next? Well, what I'm going to do next is think about how could this dialogue trigger a quest. Options would require a tree, yeah, or a tree like this, or which is a try. Yes, they would. Options need lots of things. Maybe a tree, maybe just a slightly more complicated inspector. There's a lot we can do there, but it's not the worst thing right now about the game, or the least interesting. I think the least interesting is there's no consequence to the conversation, however long it is, because we can't do any questing, and Rick specifically wanted questing and dialogue to go together. So I really want this conversation to trigger a quest. And then we'll get into the situation where it's, oh, well, I didn't want the quest, I didn't accept the quest, in which case, well, we'll worry about how you exit conversations, and we'll carry on. Which term did you not know about yet? Oh, tree. Okay, that one there. Yeah, so wiki tree. I don't think I did before the last... not by this name, anyway. I knew it as a radix tree before this stream, but there's your Wikipedia link. Boom. Headshot. Where's that from? Boom, headshot. Boom, headshot. I don't know. There's some song that does that. I think it's a reference back to Quake of the days. But anyway, for some reason, when I learnt to do a forward traveling backward somersault on the trampoline yesterday, a gainer, for some reason I kept having to say boom headshot every time I made it, for whatever reason. Anyway, trees are one of Perceptual Lucidity Games' favorite game structures, data even structures. Okay, questing. Time for a stretch, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Otherwise I'll fall asleep if I don't stretch. Yes, hang on. I need to do something here. I need to sort my Zoom out, because what people don't like is my main meeting room suddenly being like, if they come on Zoom, they're live on Twitch. They don't like that. So let's respect that and use a side room, which means I need to log into Zoom, which is there. Okay, let's try that. All right, now I'm logged into Zoom, which means that if I start a meeting with video like so, join the computer audio, that shouldn't break anything from you guys. I tested that earlier. Can I minimize this down with a keyboard shortcut? No. Then I can create a breakout room. I'm going to call that breakout room Twitch. And then I will assign, well, I don't need to assign myself for it. Can I? Do I need to just go there? No, I can't go there. How does that work then? So I've got a breakout room. It's called Twitch. I can't assign myself to it. Yeah, it's no good, is it? I think you need somebody else. Ha! Oh well, never mind. They'll have to put up with it. I have warned them that if they come on, they'll be live. The problem with this is our main lounge. You know what? I think I've got another meeting ID that is for Twitch. I'm just concerned that... Oh, bugger it. They'll just have to tell me on Slack. This is all too complicated. I want to concentrate on building my solution. So I'll just leave Slack open on there, and if they want to speak to me or join in, they can. All right. Fine. Anyway, where were we? I'm trying to avoid quests. That's what I'm trying to do, because I'm scared of it. Can't avoid it any longer. Must solve. You should find a way to automate this or get an app that does it. Which bit, Bindi? Do you mean messing around with Zoom and stuff? Probably. As we do, you know, we start to automate things when we... Let's check they're valuable first, right? I've got a little acronym, which is TIME. If you want more time, then you terminate, so stop doing the things that aren't worth doing. Then you improve the process, improve the process in general, the flow of them, and then you mechanize. And then finally, if you have to, you employ somebody. So with Twitch streaming, we're still not even 100% sure that we're going to do it forever. We probably are, because it's a lot of fun and we're getting a lot of support. So we're probably not going to terminate Twitch streaming. So the next thing is then, how do we improve it? Well, there's fundamental ways of improving it. Maybe Zoom isn't the way that they should be coming in. Maybe we should be using Wirecast on a different machine and people stream into Wirecast and everybody has their fixed slot on the screen, like Rick's slot and he's offline, you know, whatever. So the whole mechanism of it needs improving. The whole flow of it, the whole fundamental flow, regardless of any automation. Once we've got the flow of this working, then we'll think about how we mechanize things, to your point about like automating. And then if we can't automate, we'll still, if something's still worth doing, it's worth employing somebody, so that we'll then employ somebody. So Streamlabs sobs. Improve equals Streamlabs sobs. Yeah, Streamlab is cool, right? Can't use it with this scenes. Yeah, exactly. Well, I've got a Stream Deck here. I could be using scenes. I can't use Streamlabs using my piece of hardware. And if I don't use my piece of hardware, then I'm going to need to use both computers, one as a streaming machine, and it all gets, again, a little bit complicated. So I've chosen to get off the ground using my hardware so that I can really focus on the content of the streams. But yeah, longer term, of course, it would be scenes and maybe Wirecast and stuffs. But yeah, lots more to do. At the moment, it's kind of working. Can I link a pic to my studio? Yeah, of course you can link a pic to your studio. That would be really fun. Please do that. You have a dual PC setup. Yeah, that would be cool. I'd end up with a dual Mac setup, knowing me. But yeah, that would be awesome. Now, I wish you got a different subscriber badge. We really need to sort that out. You've just become a tier 2 and you don't have a different subscriber badge. That is awful. I'm sorry for you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. This is a huge image. How do I... Yeah, nice. I like that. That's pretty cool. So you've got some soundy bits, you've got a mic, you've got more monitors than you can shake a stick at. You're being in Europe somewhere by the looks of it. NL might give me a clue that you're in the Netherlands. You've got an awesome chair, although you're quite invisible as a person, but that's fine. You even have a Mac, so that's okay. I don't hate you. Yeah, cool. That is a nice setup. Much better and more impressive than my setup. So awesome job. Big green screen. You look like you are ready to go. I just am not there yet. Nice Bose quiet comfort headsets I noticed on the table there. I have some of those. Bose QC35s, I believe. Yeah, Possibly some deodorant. I don't know what that is. It's not really my business. 7-Up. A lot of sugar in that, mate. You sure you want to be eating that? Yeah, maybe you should learn the taste of water instead. I know you've not come here for health advice. Yeah, nice. Really nice. That looks really cool. Very, very nice indeed. I am super thirsty now. I think I need to get more drink. And there it is. So all of that is my lizard brain going, the idea of doing questing is scary. So I need to recognize that and then crack on with doing questing. Back to the conversation we had with Rick. We played this yesterday, didn't we, as a long-form video. I remember, actually, I don't need to go back and look at it. What we decided is that Horatio, this dude with a voice, was going to have a conversation, and now we've realized we probably need to specify canvas, although we could find that a different way in a speech bubble, and we could find that a different way. But also, there is not only the conversation, but there is the possibility of a quest. So let's create a new script called a quest for a start. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Quest. Now, to Sam's point, there is no such thing as... Quests are both going to have data and they're going to have code. Excuse me. We're probably going to have something like a quest class and then inherit specific quest behavior from that quest class, but we don't have even a single quest yet, so why bother with all that rubbish? And we're also probably going to have some sort of quest config, but again, we don't need to extract all that out. So in my head, I'm thinking we have a quest scriptable object and a quest parent class, and maybe we either inherit from it or extend it, and head explodes. So where do we start? Quest. Then we change it later, right? When it actually gets complicated enough. Sugar-free mints. Yeah, that's a cool idea. Yeah. Oh, by the way, a great tip for you guys is xylitol. Xylitol, Xylitol. It's quite amazing. This stuff, it's sugar. I know it sounds artificial. It's less artificial than Splendor, which doesn't sound artificial and is very artificial. This is basically sugar cane. Is it sugar cane? No, birch tree sugar, I think it is. Anyway, this stuff it's about half as sweet as normal sugar, but you can use it in place. It looks and tastes like it's just not quite as sweet. It may actually reduce tooth decay. Genuinely, it's ridiculous, but it does the complete opposite. So check out xylitol. Xylitol gum, xylitol sweets, anything with xylitol in it. Sure, it's still sugary, i.e. it's still carbohydrate, still going to make you produce insulin, still going to make you fat, but it is actually going to nurture the good bacteria in your mouth. That there's good and there's bad bacteria. Some of the and those populations are fighting each other. The problem with sugar, from a dental point of view, is it grows the bacteria that are acid forming. Xylitol grow the population of bacteria that compete with that type of bacteria that are non-acid forming, and it may actually prevent or reduce tooth decay, which is cool. But it's still a fast-burning carbohydrate, so you're going to trigger your insulin, and there you go. Anyway, xylitol goes straight through you, according to Cheesington. So that's lovely, Cheesington. Would you couldn't explain in a bit more detail exactly what's going on there anatomically? We would love to know. I'm joking. So, but I don't mind you sharing that. I like candor. Candor is good. Sounds a bit like Splendor, but it's a thing rather than a sweet. Anyway, I digress. We have a quest thing now. Right, so the reason I made a quest class for now is because at some point it's going to support questing. It's quite obvious what quest does. Quest is unlikely to have a start and an update. Kind of doesn't make sense. Should it be a mono behavior? Let's put my MB header in, this thing. Reminds me that really, well, it's not in here, but should it be a mono behavior? Should a quest be a mono behavior? You know what? Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't need to be. Maybe it can be a base class. So let's try it as a base class if we can. And let's go to do maybe needs to be mono, question mark. Let's see. Now, let's go ahead to the, in fact, I'm not even sure I can do this. I can't do this. Okay, it cannot be a base class. Why? Because one of the first things I'm going to want to do is in the inspector, I'm going to want to say to this dude with a voice, in our case, Mr. Horatio here. By the way, we've made tons of changes to his prefab without ever applying them, but we can deal with that later. Rick can deal. I'll talk to Rick about it. I'll use that as a debriefing point. I'm going to want in here to serialize something that tells Horatio what his quest is, the quest he's going to deal out. And I'm only going to be able to do that if it's a serializable object, a scriptable object, or a mono behavior. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it as a base class. In fact, I'm very sure I'm not. Let's try it. Just put a header in here. going to have a header for the references, which are these other two things, and then I'm going to have a header for the config as well. So, oops, if I can hit the right buttons. Wow, Ben, can't fumble fingers. Okay, let's start all that again. Header. This is just to break down the inspector. So we're going to go references, like so. And then the conversation isn't a reference. No, it is a reference. So, okay, let's not give it a header. They're all references. Let's not confuse things. The thing that matters, the thing that I want to do, there is a way of putting a gap in the inspector. How do you put a gap in the inspector? Anybody remember the annotation that lets me put a gap in the inspector? That's really what I want to do. Between fields. Serialize field, quest. So that's all very well. Quest is a base class, and we try and serialize it, but let's see what happens over in the inspector. It doesn't make any sense anyway. How would I mean, it's not an asset, even if it comes up here. How would I find anything of type quest? How would I create anything of type quest? So I can't imagine it's going to have this. So basically, it can't be a base class. It's not even showing it because it's totally the wrong type of class. I'm going to make it a mono behavior again for now. But look, the point is, why flip back and forward? Because it's really important to make things as simple a class as you possibly can. You know what? I'm going to make it a scriptable object from the word go. Why not be decisive, Ben? Why am I going to make it a scriptable object? Because I think that it's going to be mainly a data class. We'll work out a way of hanging the behavior off it later when there's behavior. But I want to be able to create a quest. So I want to be able to say create asset menu. And then I'm just going to say menu name equals, and I'm going to call it RPG /. Is it / or /? When's the last time we did this in there? Okay, / quest. So I'm going to make a menu for the quest. Okay, and then what data is this going to contain? Well, it may as well, for the moment, just have a serialized field as well, which just says what's the name of the quest, or what's the objective of the quest. So serialized field, string objective, or headline, quest name. How's that? Boom. So what have we got so far? Let's recap, not fade away. Right click. Now remember, when you put in a create asset menu on a scriptable object, it takes forever and about a day on top of forever so forever and a day to actually appear in this menu. But eventually it'll come through and I will be able to create a quest. Wow, doesn't this feel RPG-y, ladies and gentlemen? Right click, create, RPG special ability, RPG conversation, RPG quest, RPG weapon. It's cool. Space, maybe? I don't know. You tell me, Ambi. We need some Googling. I don't think it's space. I can have a look. I don't know. Insert space between fields. Are they fields? That's one word for them. Unity inspector. There'll be an annotation, and it is space attribute, and it is probably just space attribute. Space attribute. Use a decorator to add some space. What? That's not how it works. No examples given in C#. It's not going to be space attribute, surely. Text area attribute. It's probably just space. Hey, it could be what Avi said. Shouldn't have ignored you, should I? It's probably exactly what you said. Let's go and have a look. Let's go and have a look at putting maybe a space in here. Is it just space? It is space without the brackets. Yep, space 15 to add 15 pixels, or we just go default. You just Googled it too. Wicked. We're all on the same page. Let's go have a look at Horatio, because I love looking at Horatio. He's the man. And there's a bit of space. My God, that's an ugly amount of space. So let's put space 15. You were completely right. It was just space and then the number of pixels. Let's see what 15 looks like. There you go. Beautiful. You've also picked me the perfect amount of space. Avi, you are amazing. I could not possibly do what I do without you. So, excuse the sarcasm. I mean, I am actually super grateful for you being a tier 2 sub and you being here and you're Googling everything. You don't deserve my sarcasm. So there's a quest name. All right, let's make a quest. We did make a quest. No, we didn't. Yes, we did. There it is, new quest. Hey, we can also make special icons for these things. So Horatio is a conversation, and quest is a quest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to do, Rick, make some nice icons for these asset menu items. Awesome. So then they'll look different over in here. But for now, let's just have... I've got to call it test quest, haven't I? You've got to have a test quest in a game. What are all these cheesy things I'm coming up with? I'm going to write them down. They're so cheesy, they need writing down. So we've got a tech check. That was one of them. And then there's another cheesy thing now, which is a test quest. And then what are these things? They're rhymes, or they're not alliterations. There was something else. Something stream? I don't know. Anyway, test quest. Let's make a test quest. Now that test quest is going to have a name, which is find the bridge. So the quest has a name. Awesome. Now, can we tell Horatio now what quest he is dealing out? Quests are optional, by the way. If you want to put that information in that it's optional, you can, of course, where you serialize quest, put something else in, which is a tooltip. Do we put this on the same line? Don't we put this on the same line? We see how long the line gets, I guess. And we just say something like optional. Optional. So now, when you're over in the inspector, you not only have a little space, but you can hover over quest, and after about 1 million years, there you go, optional. There you go, fine. So test quest. So you see how we're structuring this stuff and starting really simple, not worrying about the architecture yet until you actually hit an architectural hurdle, getting completely distracted by everything from xylitol to squirrels. So having to go and use my pre-commit name here to work out what I'm trying to do, and I don't even have a pre-commit, so I don't even know what I'm trying to do, so I'd better decide what I'm trying to do, i.e. where am I going to stop and say this is good enough? I think I'm going to stop and say this is good enough when Horatio tells me the name of the quest he has for me. So quest name comes through to where? To console. That'll do. To the console. So keep it really simple. So Horatio here has now been told that the quest that he deals out is test quest. Now, of course, test quest will also be put on other areas, like on the bridge itself in the game, for example, and be used to tie the fact that Horatio is dealing out that quest to the bridge. But I digress. Sam doesn't want to talk to me. Either that or he's hanging around on Zoom waiting for me. Let's just see if anybody's hanging around on Zoom. Nope, nobody wants to talk to me. Oh, sad. So sad. Okay, I'll probably survive. Quite enjoying talking to you guys. Nice to have somebody to talk to. Again, I'm still slightly surprised I'm getting anything done. We're working. Who's working? Oh, you're working. No, you're not. You're watching my stream. Huh. Working. Look at him. Jan. Who's he anyway? Hey, mate. Nice to see you. Why do I have to do yuck? I don't know. Anyway, voice. We have a quest. What are we doing with this quest? Something. Fine. Now we need the idea that the conversation is finished. No, we don't. We're just going to immediately doll out the quest. So we're just going to, I'm going to make a method because I think that we're going to need a method later. Public void issue quest, assign quest, issue quest, grant quest, doll out quest, give quest, grant quest. Help me out, Jan. What's the word? Offer quest, give quest. That'll do. Boom. So we're going to just give the quest straight away, regardless. For now, later there should be some option. Assign quest, assign, yeah, something like that. Parallax background. That's very helpful, Jan. Thank you. I'm glad to have you here. We can't possibly get into any trouble with you as our wingman. So what we want to do now is I'm just going to print to the console the quest dot. Now, the quest has no way of getting information about it, so again, we're going to have to write a getter. Let's do that. Private, no, private ain't going to be so good. Let's go for public. Get quest name. What are you going to return? Good old typed languages, strictly typed languages. We need to know that it's a string. And then you need to know how to put a space, which I simply don't. And then return for now the quest name. Later we may add value. You notice that with the other getter that we had, wherever it was, where was the other getter? The conversation says get convo as string, and it actually does something. So this is one of the reasons why just having getters and not making things public is okay, because you can actually add value. Now right now this quest doesn't really add any value, but it can do later. So in the voice, let's just print quest.getName. This is almost trivial. In fact, it is trivial. It's also not working. Public string get quest name. Yes, should be able to call that method. Quest dot get quest name. Okay, it just took time to come through, apart from I can't type. Methody things, closey brackets, boom, 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 biddy, boom, boom. Okay, over here, let's have a little look. See if Horatio gives me a quest. There I am, got my console like that, and click on Mr. Horatio, strolling around proudly in his embarrassing coloured top. I wear tops that colour. Hey, look, find the bridge. Horatio just issued me a quest. He didn't really, because I can't do anything with that quest. but it's all right. It's a start. I'm going to just... quest name comes through the console. We have achieved. Now I'm super thirsty. I'm going to go for another break. How long... When did I have my last break? Anyway, who cares when I had my last break? My body says I need another break, so I'm going to have another break. So stuff you lot. No, I mean, we love you guys. Where are we? I'm going to share with you this commits for this stream. Boom, plus all the streams before. But of course, if you refresh that page and look at commits on the 10th of July, then you'll see all the commits we made. We actually did done stuff. Hey, shall we find out what we did done? I'm going to show you a cool thingamajig here. So if that's where I started, that's where I ended at the end of the previous stream. If I copy the SHA of that, i.e. the full version of this commit name here, and I use my whizzy little shortcut, which is diffstat, what that does is say, hey Git, do a difference showing me the statistics between the SHA that I just copied, i.e. this puppy down here, and implicitly where we currently are up here. So it's basically doing what I'm doing by highlighting these two guys and showing me the difference, right? But this difference here is quite, it's okay, it's quite cool difference, but it contains everything, you know, all the PSD files, everything else. If I just want to look at the lines of code of difference, look at what my little command does. When I say, show me the difference between where I am, i.e. up here, and where I've selected, where I copied that SHA, filtering only C#, we get this. We get absolutely nothing, don't we? I'm very confident it'll work. What have we done? We've actually written 75 lines of code and deleted 6, and you can see which files. We've added a bit to the conversation, made a whole new quest class and a voice class and a camera raycaster, and because when you make a new class, you get a load of lines of boilerplate, it looks like I've done more work than I actually have. So that is awesome. Anyway, this is really cool when you want to know how much progress you've made, and it's also good when you refactor and you want to know that you have actually simplified your code. I mean, generally when you refactor and simplify, if you think you're simplifying, generally you should be removing lines of code. This keeps you honest to that between a different set of commits. In turn 2, I disappoint. Is I disappoint the Netherlands way of saying you're disappointed? Or is it the terminal replacement? Item 2. Okay, is it worth it? What's it do? Split panes, hotkey window. Ooh. Search, I think I can search anyway. Autocomplete, I think I get autocomplete. Mouseless copy, yeah. Paste history, I've got a paste history. I've got a system-wide paste history. Instant replay, yeah, maybe nice. Configurability, yeah, I shall consider it. I don't think I'm quite there. I don't think I'm sophisticated enough of a doohickey to need that right now. Hey, I'm Temmie. Hey, I'm Temmie. How you doing? Got fed up with sometimes not having the console in Unity selected before pressing play. If you have a game, created your first editor script. Awesome. Good job. Nice job. Well done. That's really cool. All right, I'm going to play the game. I leave the game playing, a little bit of music from the game. We may as well have the game music. So turn that up a bit, play the game, and I'll see you. Oh, the music won't play unless I do this. See you in a few minutes again.